Welcome to the Go Big Redcast with Dave, Honky, Boomer, and Redcast Rob.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, Honky, and I'm with Redcast Rob.
Good evening, everyone. You know, I've been reading my Herd At magazine here, or should I say Hail Varsity magazine here from Herd At, and there's an interview with Quentin Newsom on there where he talks about Coach Fisher and the importance of his room playing on special teams. And his reply was, they'll put you on it, and you're just happy to be there. And let me tell you, Mr. Newsom, you just described my entire career on the Redcast.
Just happy to be here. Also with Boomer.
Well, I just thought we'd take this opportunity while Dave's off to do a little experimenting with the rules. I did some math, and it turns out Redcast Rob has been sitting a little too far off our normal baseline. So, Rob, I'm going to need you to slide in about 13.5 inches to get you more in line with the diamond shape we're supposed to have. Perfect. There you go.
Nice. And we also have our special guest Redcaster tonight, Meg.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
PJ Fleck has a new face, so that's kind of like my news of the day. I don't know if we want to talk about that or anything, but kind of exciting.
As long as Will Smith doesn't do anything about it, we'll be okay.
No.
So,
yeah, we can get to that. I mean, this is going to be a different.
I feel
kind
like
of
we
show.
should start with that. Quite frankly,
we can talk about PJ Fleck's face. That's fine. Yeah, this is a different kind of show tonight. It wasn't a huge news week until actually today. A few things were starting to come out with basketball that we'll get to, but it wasn't a lot of news. And this is a good time to do a tweets of the week, all tweets of the week show. And so that we're going to dedicate the entire show to that. And we're going to start off with a couple of promotions first here. And so some of the tweets here, we're talking about tonight's show and that Dave is off this week. And so Redcast Meg, you're filling in for him. And Sarah and Abby, they both responded here. They wanted to get into our Tweets of the Week section, and they are with the Husk girls. And we're going to be talking with them next week, right?
Yeah, they made it. So we are having an event, I guess you would call it an event, next week, Monday, April 4th. So we kind of came up with this idea when Honky posted something on Twitter. It was like a list, or I can't remember what it was. And I said, you need more girls in here.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent me a message and was like, let's try to figure something out where we can get, some more women voices, and let's bring them on the Redcast and do kind of a round table. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be a really good crew. And so obviously we're co-branding that between the Go Big Redcast and the Popping Kernels, which you are one half of with Kai. So that should be a lot of fun. And that'll be Monday night at 8:30 Central Standard Time.
Yes.
Next up, also mark your calendars, and this is hot off the presses, whatever. Rob, you got this one? Or he doesn't have to have it. Anyways, we're doing a Lunchcast with JoJo Doman. Rob is doing one with JoJo Doman at 1:30 on Thursday. So
assuming Rob is alive, I'm starting to get a little worried
Rob,
here. Yeah.
Oh, he is. You know what? He's frozen. So
We're just very stoic. We're not sure which yet.
Or he got a new face too.
Possible.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Botox, they say, does kind of freeze things up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could explain a lot. So.
That could be it. And last bit of housekeeping here. Obviously, use Redcast promo code at hailvarsity.com/subscribe when you subscribe to it, and you'll get $10 off of your subscription. And last but not least, we have a new sponsor here, someone that's going to be helping us out, a great couple, Shane and Laura from Elwood, that they have started up a new company here, Smack and Smooch, and they are creating the shirts that we're wearing. They're creating, they're a great print business and shirts and koozies and all kinds of stuff. So anything you need for your printing services. All right. Now that we're through all that, let's get to scarlet colored glasses. And we're going to talk about all things Husker football and just football in general. And since this is all tweets of the week here, these are some of the ones that came out over the last week that I thought were interesting. And we'll start with an NIL one. And from Darren Heitner, he talked about how Adidas just opened the door to big brand NIL wars. It is offering all athletes at each of its sponsored schools to be paid affiliate ambassadors, roughly 50,000 athletes. This will put pressure on Nike, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and other major brands to offer nationwide deals. So we've been hearing a lot about NIL, and we've been talking a lot about NIL. Now we're talking big time. I mean, national players coming in here, and the money's starting to flow around. Thoughts on this?
I think it's super smart from Adidas. They've kind of, I think, been, I don't want to know if I want to say looked down upon as kind of like the, redheaded stepchild to Nike and some of the other brands. And so I think it's kind of a big deal for them. And I would like to get a Diet Coke sponsorship.
Yeah, you can say it, Meg. That's fine. We're not
Thank you.
privy to any brand here. Yeah, if you want to knock Adidas, go ahead. With their quality alternate uniforms they've turned out with us over the years that they, I think, work on the night before they're due in most cases. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I guess I'm kind of curious to see how Adidas is going to work this out. Is it the same amount to every player? Are they going to give different amounts to different sports or different players based on who they are? I'll be curious to kind of see how this works out and what approach they're going to take on it. So, because that'll raise a lot of questions and issues too. So, but it's probably deserved, I suppose, given a lot of publicity the athletes do give these major entities like Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, whatever, what have you. So, And I will also make a Diet Coke sponsorship and back in the stadium. So I'll second that.
Definitely.
Redcast Rob is back. How are you doing? Can we hear you?
No, he's just very stoic.
He was back, and then he just is not back again.
Yeah, he's just.
Our answers are perfect. He has nothing else to say. So,
Rob. Okay,
Yeah,
we're just gonna
my TV, folks. So. Oh, there we go.
Rob, you may need to reboot or something. But anyways, yeah. So as far as the NIL goes, there, I thought something. We talked with Tyler Kai last week, and he's the associate athletic director for leadership gifts and capital projects at UNL, and he sent out a couple things here. One of them was thanking a group of Husker Fund members who attended the football practices last weekend, and then in addition to that, we talked about the Go Big project, and he listed out all the things that are going to be part of it. 315,000 square feet facility. It includes sports medicine, strength and conditioning, equipment room, football locker room, football offices, football meeting spaces, all athlete academic center, and all athlete training table. And he wanted to make sure that people understood the Go Big campaign fundraising is ongoing. Every gift gets us that much closer. But what I thought was interesting and how this ties in with the NIL is a statement that he made here. I'm going to play it for you about how NIL actually can affect fundraising on events like this or big facilities like this.
It will be our home for a very long time. And in the landscape of what NIL is doing with fundraising, it's possible that this could be one of the last large facilities across the country as other people are looking at what they're going to do from other schools. So,
Boomer, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, there's a finite amount of resources, I guess, that anybody has, right? So if money is going towards players now, if that's what someone's donations and everything would be going towards, would be NIL towards a player, then the possibility that it's not going towards a facility is, I guess, a real thing there.
Yeah, one of the things I do recall from my high-quality economics degree I got at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln was the concept of scarcity, that there is ultimately a limit to the amount of anything out there. And that is a reality. I mean, there's only so much money that people have to put towards sports of any kind, whether it's a donation, whether it's buying tickets, whether it's, buying the gear, taking the family and kids out, or whatever it is. And that is interesting when you think about that NIL could potentially siphon money away that would normally go to the schools for projects such as this and go directly to players. And as I was thinking about that, I wonder if that might serve as an impetus to one of the things Steve Sipple mentioned when he was on the other week about how he thinks in 3 to 5 years, the universities may be taking over this NIL thing. And that may be a reason for it. If they don't feel they're getting the money they need to build facilities, make improvements, because we all know that's still going to continue. I mean, other schools aren't going to let themselves fall ultimately far behind in this. They're going to have to find a way to get these things done. And so they may, the schools may get together and decide this is why we need to take control of NIL internally and do it through the schools. So that way we just get all the money in, we control the resources, and that's how it's dealt out. So they can deal it as appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Well, one way that you can make some money is you can sell some tickets to events. And we have a great event coming up next weekend. It's the spring game. And on his Husker Radio Network appearance, Alberts said that there had been 42,000 tickets sold so far for the April 9th spring game. Now, this was as of March 24th. He would like to get that number above 50,000. Also, the new field turf going in will be just one shade of green, not the two-tone for the turf nerds out there. Are you a turf nerd, Meg? I mean, is this going to break your heart to see us go back to one color, or what are you looking for there?
We're back, baby. One tone. That's what we've been needing this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of losses during on that old turf. Let's rip it out, and I mean,
gone.
Totally
We're
gone.
starting fresh.
But I'm always such a two-tone ska fan. The specials or madness. I just don't know if I can embrace just single tone.
So Rob, let's see if Rob is back now, because I don't know if you're frozen or can you talk? Do you have anything to say?
I can talk. Am I frozen sitting here? Like, can you guys?
No, you look
see
as good
me?
as you've done all night,
now.
actually. So
Do
whatever
this.
you've done, keep doing that. Yeah.
Really quick? Yeah, he's good.
Okay. Okay, cool. I mean, two-tone, one-tone. I just want wins. I mean, I don't really.
Well, obviously
care
they're
what the
connected.
field looks
Rob,
like.
so.
What's that?
It's all connected,
Oh,
obviously. So,
Well,
yeah.
I was just trying
Right.
to think, like, maybe some people say it's the stripes on the pants and on the uniform. Some people say
Also very possible.
all red, all white, all black. Like, I don't know. There's a million
Okay, stripes
different
on the
things.
pants. I'll start. Meg, yes or no?
Mhm.
Stripes on the pants.
Yes.
Yes. Rob,
Yes.
Boomer.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Nebraska, it's a fact. Nebraska looked at its absolute best, just appearance wise, in the '95 Orange Bowl. How we looked playing against Miami, the shade of red was a kind of a dark red there, and the two stripes and everything. And then the next year, '95, we switched to Adidas and those white pants with nothing on it. Not a fan. Was not a fan.
Boomer would prefer leather helmets, though. So
Well, that is true.
that's
And I actually want the stripes kind of running, around the pant leg and shirts like they used to in the teens. So, and I mean the 19 teens. So
I'm actually down with that. I'm not gonna lie. I think that would look super cool and extra baggy too, right?
Okay,
Like,
the worst uniform, 2002. That year, we went
That
7 and
thick
7.
stripe.
Oh,
Someone
those are-
posted that. I was like, these are terrible. I don't remember those at all. I think I blocked them out of my memory or something.
that's the wisest choice, Meg.
Yeah, they were bad.
It was big in the pros that year. I remember like the Broncos having a big orange one, on a blue. Yeah, it was awful.
Are you
They were
okay?
terrible.
sorry, he said the B word.
Yeah, he's a Raiders fan. All right, so we'll move on. More tweets of the week here. We're still in the football we're going to talk a little bit about Husker football here. And these were a couple about wide receiver coach. Football Scoop said that the highest paid wide receivers coaches in college football, the 2022 edition, and number 6 is our Mickey Joseph, who also is more than just a wide receivers coach. He is the pass game coordinator, and he's like associate head coach as well. But he's going to earn his money right now, because in the last week, something that's happened since the last time we did a Redcast was Xavier Betts, his absence. He's essentially off the team right now. I don't know what the final status is, if they've come out with it, but it certainly doesn't sound good that he's going to be around. Anyways, Mitch Sherman wrote some thoughts. The Xavier Betts absence is a major development. He's a high-end talent. No indication of what happened, but I can say that Mickey Joseph is going to coach these Nebraska wideouts hard and expect more from them than what they've experienced in the past. What I will say, if anyone, did you guys have a chance to listen at all to the Sharp and Benning podcast that they did that morning? I mean, it was pretty
I'm
heartfelt.
so glad they did that too.
Oh, Damon I even DM'd him just to say thank you for doing that, because I thought it was really good. And look, Meg, they're not robots. These are people, and they're kids. They're people that, and in the case of Betts here, I mean, Frost has always said, if you don't love football, Joseph said, if you don't love it, it's going to be hard to do all the work it takes to be great. And Betts just might be not loving it.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, it's not going to work out for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, like, in my life, I have never been somebody to, like, if I don't like something, I'm gone. Like, if I'm not getting out what I thought this was going to be, or even if I just am like, you know what, this isn't for me anymore. Like, I've grown, I've changed, I'm ready to move on. Then move on.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the important thing, though, for especially the real frustrated realist fans out there, is that this is only us. We're the only school that has this stuff happen. And what is wrong at Nebraska? We need to get rid of coaches. And what's this tweet? this just in, since the end of the 2021 season, Maryland has lost linebackers Brendan Jennings, Terrence Lewis, Dominion Robinson. All three were either 4 or 5-star members of the Terps 2021 recruiting class. Now, I bring that one tweet up, but I could have brought up tweets from virtually every other school that have gone through similar things too. I mean, top-ranked players, 4 and 5-star guys coming and going. It does. Look, it stinks with Betts because I have so much hope that he was going to turn out to be this all-American kind of player for us. And I think he has that kind of talent, but that's something that Joseph from day one, when he got in here, he's like, look, the talent's there, but he's not consistent, and that's what I'm going to bring out of him if he wants to do it. And if he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to, I mean, that's just the way it is. So,
Hey,
I can't imagine at this point, like in how long the transfer portal has existed, still thinking we exist in a bubble and we're the only school that has players transfer out. Like, I feel like this is just the way of the world now. And you either accept it and you learn to live with it, or you don't.
Well, Honky, I'm having all kinds of issues tonight, so I apologize.
What is wrong with you?
I'm dropping things. I'm everything.
shape up,
if
man.
you recall too, in the text thread that we have here, and I didn't put it out into the world because sometimes I just don't feel like doing that. But I did put in the text thread that Joseph kind of brings something new to the table, right? That other coaches in the past haven't brought. As far as like accountability and expectations for wide receivers, like playing on special teams. And some people just aren't built for that sort of thing. Like their entire life, they've kind of been coddled as an athlete. A lot of these guys were the best player on their team in high school, right? Like all these guys were. And so I'm sure that they've been treated a certain way. And sometimes just some people, when put under certain types of, even in your day jobs, you're put under certain types of management, i.e. coaching, whatever, it gets to a point sometimes where maybe, you won't love it anymore because maybe you're asked to work harder than you're used to working in a lot more aspects than you've had to work before. And, I don't blame the kid for that, because if you don't, like Meg said, if you don't love it, we don't expect you to be here, because we just want kids that love it. And I wish the best for Betts, but at the same time, it's like, we need a bunch of guys that are going to be putting the work in out there.
Yeah. And that's the truth of, football. It's one thing, gosh, 70-degree days in September in front of 90,000 people. I mean, it's just amazing. Those are amazing, glorious days and reasons why you want to be a football player. But it's those 5 a.m. mornings in February when you're doing things, when your friends who aren't on the football teams aren't doing those things. I mean, those are every bit as important. In fact, I mean, those are what make you the great players, the great teams months later. And so, I always think about that with I remember Brett Favre, would always want to sit out, camp. I mean, that stuff, you get to a point, it's like, that's not the fun part of it. And, but it's especially at these developmental levels, which is what college is still for these guys. Every one of those off-season practices and everything, it's important. And, I'm glad. I think we have the right leadership in place. I really like Joseph leading that room. Speaking of leadership and of the different rooms that we have on the football team, how about the running back spot? And this was one from Stephen M. Sipple, and he wrote about Husker QBs are going under center to take snaps, and Brian Applewhite likes it. Quote, first of all, there's always something to be said for, I'm going to run the ball there, and you've got to stop it. Love that.
I love that.
I mean, it's Big Ten football, right? It's toughness. We're going to run the ball. It's everything that, I know when Whipple got hired, Rob was singing, if you want to pass the ball, you must Whipple. But there's going to be a running game. And getting under center, I think, is a huge, huge piece of getting that running game going. It gives some better sight lines, everything for running backs. And also especially when we're in like short yardage situations, goal line situations, I mean, that's what I want to see. So that's a big move. I mean, I don't know what percentage exactly it's going to be, but to get under center is going to be a big deal.
I feel like that was one of the most common things screamed at television sets across Nebraska last year. Go under center. Like, how many times? I lost count.
Yeah. I mean, offensively, if you think about this, I would say there's two things that are happening within the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, on offense and defense, that are kind of big storylines in spring right now. Offensively, We're going under center. Okay. That's a big deal there. Defensively, and I'll bring up this slide. Defensively with the D-line, here's D-line coach Mike Dawson on the progress of the young group of D-lines. It's not like they go out there and say, you know what, I think I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he told me to do, but sometimes it just looks like that, and it feels like that as a coach. And then it comes down to developing good habits over time, likes young talent. Weaver flashes his athleticism. Hutmacher has to take off the charts weight room numbers and translate it onto the football field. The point with the D-line, I think the change in the D-line, and this is something I talked to the coach that was at the high school coaches clinic last weekend, and he said that Dawson referenced this, and I've seen this in other places too, where he referenced that we'll probably be in the 4-man fronts 80% of the time. That's a big difference. If we're getting under center on offense, and if we're in a 4-man front, meaning that you're probably going to have Garrett Nelson and some of those outside linebackers lining up on the D-line. They're going to be out, this is going to look like, in a lot of cases, it's going to look like 1995 kind of, players, size-wise. You're going to have DNs that are 250 pounds and two big old D tackles in the middle. That's quite a change from last season.
And we all know how switching to an unexpected odd or even front can completely throw off an opposing offense. So we have that to look forward to as well.
Do we do the Diaco thing in spring game and never line up and do a completely different defense for the spring game? That'd be pretty apropos. Comment wise, Boomer, do we have anything so far coming in the comment section?
Yes, we have several things so far. Let's see. First off, we've got a comment from Abby Harris, just saying we made it. So that's good. So Justin Eller commenting, Meg, I believe it's focusing to you that you're famous. So that's always good. So it certainly wasn't me. So yeah, nobody cares about that.
It's not always good.
No, that's true.
but sometimes.
At least you didn't say you were infamous. So that's good.
Yeah.
So.
It probably should have.
And I thought I'd throw out the 2002 Husker uniforms right there for those of us too young to remember that, or those of us with PTSD from those. Yeah, they were not good.
It hurts.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And there's a sharp 1913-ish look we need to go back to right there.
Those are slick.
Yeah, where's Waldo-esque? Sure, but Adidas, you could do something with that. I mean, come on, make that happen. So. And then, we do have another question from Brandon Hill. Is Betts officially transferring out? He hasn't been on social media in the last couple of days. That's usually good advice, Brandon. I would tend to avoid it whenever possible as well too. So I don't think there's anything official on Xavier Betts that I've seen. I don't know if you have, Meg or Honky, seen anything yet. So I think that's still kind of up in the air what he plans to do, and if he even wants to play football anymore, he may not transfer anywhere. So I guess we'll see on that. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything beyond that, but it doesn't sound good that he'll be back with the Huskers at the very least. So I know he met with Frost last Friday, and certainly no new news came out that was, that he had changed his mind. Speaking of that, infamous, would you say we're infamous, Boomer?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, that's more than famous, right? Isn't that what that means? Yeah, or infamous.
So famous. Well, a guy that's really famous here, the next tweet of the week, and Meg, I want your thoughts on this one here. Paul Finebaum, the guy is he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. And he says, is there anything in college football history that can compare to a retiring Coach K making the Final Four? And to which we tweet out seriously with 3 question marks. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Storybook ending to a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, Mount Rushmore, a coach of his specific of the sport. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Can you?
No, I've got nothing. No, nothing. 94, 95, 97. It's like something that's like stuck in my head. I don't know why, but
like finished 60-3 over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Played in
I'm trying right now. I've been doing so good on like this live thing and holding in expletives. So I'm just not going to talk about Paul Finebaum.
3 undefeated seasons in his last 4 years.
Like a really good choice by me. I'm very adult.
Go Coach K though. And that's wow. Well, we're going to finish our football talk here, and this is on a positive note. And one of our former coaches, and we've talked very highly of Coach Heldon, and it was sad to see him be fired at the end of last season, but he's now at Northern Arizona, and
Alabama.
I'm sorry, Northern Alabama.
Sorry.
And anyways, but he was back in Lincoln for he goes, I'll always have a special place for Lincoln, Nebraska as I drive away today for the final time. I feel very blessed to have worn the N as a player and a coach. It meant everything to me. North Alabama is my new home. Great people and a great opportunity. Hashtag new chapter. That was so classy. I mean, we retweeted that immediately and just we wish him well. And those are the tough things in these coaching changes. There are real lives and families that are affected by them, and especially when it's a former Husker too. We felt the same way about Greg Austin. It's just sad to see, but that was really classy on Coach Held's part.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, let's move on then. I think we're done with the football section here, and we're going to go on to Nebraska ball. And this is going to be just a general basketball discussion. Some of it's going to be Nebraska ball stuff, but some of it's, other things, March Madness going on. But we're going to start off with, this was a busy day in basketball, men's and women's. We'll start with the tweet that came out from Sam Hybe earlier today that let's run it back, Husker Nation. There's no place like Nebraska. And on the men's side of it, we've had over the last week now, we have a Lincoln player coming back, Sam Greisel coming back from North Dakota State. Recruits like Blaze Keita and then Ramel Lloyd Jr., they both have reaffirmed that they're coming to Nebraska, even though Matt Abdelmassi has been let go, their lead recruiter. So we're starting to get some of the roster stuff in place. Derek Walker today announced that he's going to come back, and that was great. He announced that on Twitter. And then also that Armin Gates is going to be retained as a coach. So right now we have Armin Gates back and Nate Linzer. So I think we really only have the position that's replacing Matt Abdelmassi. So
and Doc.
Right now, I mean, and Doc
was an analyst, maybe.
Yeah, he wasn't like an actual assistant this last year. I don't believe it. So, but we still have. I guess if we're replacing what he did. I think that I heard that the position was actually going away. But we're starting to get a good glimpse now of what Hoiberg's plan is from, keeping some of that roster intact. I'm sure we're still going to probably hit a portal and get a player or two here or there. And then there's still one more big hire to make, who's that last assistant going to be. But Meg, I'll start with you here. Obviously, again, busy day. It's great for both the men's and the women's programs to have those players coming back.
Yeah, I'm super excited that Hybe and Derek Walker are coming back. I think in both of their programs, they're leaders. So it's like to have those two specifically to come back and lead these programs and kind of show them the way. And I think it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we look at the roster here, and Chris Basnett did the yeoman's work on this. He posted this, and I mean, we're going to be over right now. I think we still have a couple of extra spots, so I'm still expecting some more movement. But the 2022-23 season, seniors would be Lat Mayan, Derek Walker, Trey McGowan, Sam Greisel. There's Tominaga, Blaze Keita, Andre. Although Andre's gone now, he did enter the portal. Wilcher, Oleg, the 7-footer, Keon Edwards, he entered the portal too. Breidenbach. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of numbers there, I guess, to play with. But so they're still in getting the roster, all figured out there. Boomer, what are you thinking basketball wise right now?
Well, it's nice to see at least, we can't have continuity in the coaching staff, but at least we're getting something to work with for next year. And that's been a complaint that I think Husker fans have had for a while. It just seems every year, right when you start to get something going, that's when the player leaves or transfers out or something happens. And we've just never been able to keep a kind of a base of a team going for any length of time. So I think some of the, the returning players and the fact we're not having to go out and try to refill a whole bunch of recruits again, at least so far, let's hope it stays that way. I think at least gives some hope to basketball next season. So once we get the coaching pieces put together, and should give them something to build on, I think. So.
Yeah, Trey McGowan's, I think, would be a huge get if they could get him to come back. Rob, you've been a huge Derek Walker fan. And so the news today that Walker came back, although not necessarily surprising, I think a lot of people thought that he was going to come back for that extra year. That had to be a positive for you.
Well, yeah, I think that, as much as Bryce McGowan's was the 5-star touted player, obviously he's headed off for the NBA, and then his brother Trey was hurt for most of the season, and Walker was really the one constant on that team the entire season. And towards the end of the season, you heard the announcers talking about that fact more and more and more. I just like him because he's a Big Ten style player, right? He's big. He's a body in the middle of the floor. Like I said, if in past shows, if they could get a center, a guy who is like a true center, 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, to complement him, that could be a force in the middle to reckon with, especially with that inside out ball where, they're passing it into the middle to open up threes and shots on the outside, which is what Hoiberg wants. So, I mean, I'm excited to see him come back because I just get to watch him for another season. He is probably by far my favorite player on the team. So,
Well, next year with Keita and hopefully Breidenbach coming back healthy, there will be some size to go along with Walker there, and that should definitely be helpful.
Real quick, I saw Sam Hoiberg on there. Was he on the team this year? Is he? I mean, he was. Okay, I just had no idea. He's not taking up a scholarship though, I hope.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. I just wasn't sure. Did he get much playing time? It's always funny to me when coaches' sons are playing on the or playing on the team. I always just find that humorous personally.
Well, I mean, I think it's at Iowa. They had two McCaffreys that were scholarship guys. And actually, I was talking when I was in Denver with Dave a week ago. Well, I was out there with you too, Rob.
Yeah, you were out there. Yeah, I was there.
But watching it with Iowa Sean, and he referenced how there's some frustration within Hawkeye Nation that there's Iowa's coach who makes millions of dollars, has two players on the team, and you only have 13 scholarships to begin with, and 2 of them are going to his sons. And they're like, come on, I mean, go get go ask the athletic department for $100,000 raise just so you can turn around and pay for your 2 kids, and then use those spots, use it. Have 2 extra scholarships. I mean, why wouldn't
not
you?
only that,
yeah.
Don't like employees of the university usually get like free school for their kids anyway, or
There's
for their
kids
come and there'd be every school is different with how they do it, but usually there's some free scholar or
it must be a
McCaffrey
thing
stuff
because
they're double dipping.
It must be a McCaffrey thing because Coach McCaffrey here at UNC has 2 of his kids on the team as well. And Dylan was the quarterback, and that was like a big controversy because he wasn't very good. He's not very good. There was a kid on the team that was better than him who is now transferring out because the coach wanted to play his son. And I'm like, don't you leave that sort of thing behind in high school or like junior high or I don't know, Pee-wees? But apparently not. It's just the way it goes, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it's college coaches just being dumb and doing dumb things. And this next tweet is a perfect example of that here. One of our favorite follows, Message Board Geniuses. If you do not follow these people on Twitter, you really need to, Redcasters. This was from the Kansas game last weekend where multiple people saying how I feel like Self almost deserves this just for sucking at his job all season. Basically, we need to fire Self, which makes a lot of sense, especially when an hour later you win the game. To follow up on this, and then let's talk about these. Here's a couple more Message Board Genius ones, and this is for the game. I don't know if you guys know this, but North Carolina and Duke are playing this weekend.
Are they?
God, you'd think sports media would have mentioned that. Yeah.
Man, that's going to be great for college basketball.
Oh, yeah. Well, North Carolina fans, they already know how this is going to end. Duke will get their storybook ending for K. They will beat UNC soundly in the national semifinal, then beat whoever is there for the national championship. I've accepted it, and I hate it, but it's our reality. And meanwhile, Duke fan is worried that all the cards will be stacked against them on Saturday when they face North Carolina. So, again, I bring these up, and it's kind of lighthearted, but I'll go with you here, Meg. We see a lot of Husker fans, obviously, on Twitter, and sometimes we think we get in our own bubble and we think we're the only ones that feel this way or say these things or do these things. But the Message Board Geniuses are great because they highlight that every single fan base has this.
Yeah, everyone's insane. I mean, every fan base has crazy people, right? And it's almost even better as like a Husker fan or just a fan of a program that hasn't had much recent success to see some of these other ones and you're like, that you want to fire Bill Self. Like that's what you want to do. Great idea. I love it.
Yeah, super smart. And that's how those blue bloods get to continue being blue bloods is firing coaches every couple of years. It makes sense, right, Boomer? Right. I mean, especially right in the middle of the game.
Well, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean that's some teams need continuity. They just need constant turmoil and turnover, and that should work out fine. And that in fake classes seems to work okay for UNC as well. So yeah. Dave's not here. We can make fun of them, right? So.
Yeah. We can
okay, he won't be listening, right? So okay.
So we're talking about great fans right now, and I guess maybe the final part of our basketball one here is going to be a real special one. This is an Iowa fan here, but we're going to call him out, Scott Douglas today.
Can you read his handle, please?
Oh, geez, what does it say?
It says at Scotty D Doogie, and I feel like that pretty much sums it up.
He wrote. Well, he tags Keegan Murray #1, so that's awesome. We've always. I'm going to play a little thing in a second. Our stay off of Twitter piece that producer Skip created a couple years ago. It applies here, but anyways, old Scotty D Doogie tweeted at Keegan Murray saying, "So disappointed you decided to go for the almighty dollar rather than complete your college education and finish up at Iowa. I think you made a horrible decision, but still wish you the best of luck in the NBA. Don't forget where you came from and who you are." So sweet there, Scott. Now Keegan's dad, Kenyon Murray, he did respond. I thought this was awesome. He said, "Well, the fact that he has been on the honor roll every semester, academic all Big Ten, and continues his charity work, my wife and I are proud of the man he is. He has his priorities straight and will finish out this semester greater than a 3.0 GPA. I hope you were being sarcastic." Meg, don't tweet at players, right?
Don't tweet at players. And for the love of God, if anyone ever was like, "Man, your kid really messed up not making $10 million," like, are you dumb in the head? I mean, yes, but I don't know. Every day I lose more faith.
Maybe he was being sarcastic. I don't know.
I don't know.
I hope he was.
I don't think so.
No, he continued to try to defend it later, so no.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned this. I want to play this because we haven't played it for at least a year or two on the show. But this is our stay off of Twitter suit that producer Skip created.
And now a Husker fan public service announcement.
Hey, Husker fans. Another game day loss got you down? Feeling like you need to blow off that L-column frustration? What better place to go than
Twitter? I'm gonna log on and do some tweets.
Wait, no. You interrupted me there. I don't think you should go on Twitter and
tell them who should be fired. Somebody better be fired.
Yeah, someone definitely needs to be fired for this.
Well, I've got a new and better option for you.
I'm gonna get on the Twitters and I'm gonna tweet at them directly.
Yeah, as a grown man, I'm gonna tweet this 20-year-old and tell them exactly what I think of them. Gonna be sure to go public with my unhappiness because that will finally get it fixed. Oh my great grand island, no! Man, does this sound like you? Well, folks, help is on the way. The next time your game rage wants to burst through your blowhole via your thumb muscles, pull an audible. And instead, grab a nice cold frothy glass of Stay Off of Twitter. Otherwise known by its acronym of SOOT. That's SOOT. Stay off of Twitter. SOOT is a scientifically tested and proven method that helps with your game day blues, as well as preserve your personal integrity going forward. So next time a fumble has you ready to go public with your angry mumble, let SOOT intercept that impulse as you go ahead and pay us on that tweet. See what I did there? This has been a Husker fan public service announcement brought to you by the Association of a Level-Headed Tomorrow.
I love that.
So good. It's so good.
And it is so appropriate. And again, we created that for Husker fans to stay off of Twitter. But the point behind some of these message board geniuses and the Iowa guy there, and the point is that it's everywhere. I mean, we are in our own bubble, and Husker fans, we think, oh, we're the best or we're the worst at this. And we're, like you said earlier, Meg, we're just all nuts. Fans are just nuts. Fans is short for fanatics. We are crazy.
Yeah. Sports are emotional. I get it. Like, I'm an emotional sports fan.
It's 10:40 on a Tuesday night, and we're talking about stuff. We're live casting sports because we're nuts.
This is way past my bedtime.
All right. Well, Rob is coming back on, but he might be falling back off. I have no idea. Apparently,
we've got a horrible windstorm here tonight, and I think it's like knocked out my internet probably half a dozen times already tonight. So I
Is
don't
it
know
like
what's
windy
going on.
underground, or what kind of internet do you have? I mean,
Just tell your mom you have to use
There
the
you go.
phone.
Well,
Oh.
we're done with basketball now, so let's move on to Around the Van Horn, and we're gonna finish up with some baseball. And Meg, I mean, you are a huge Husker baseball fan on top of obviously the football and just really all the sports, but particularly baseball is one that I've always admired how you follow it. And so here's a couple of the tweets here, and on the left here was tonight we played Creighton, and as we got to watch at the very tail end before going on air, we lost 3-2, I believe it was. And so it's frustrating. One of the tweets here from Journal Star was about the Huskers have made a habit out of playing from behind lately, and sometimes that happens in baseball, Will Bolt said, but something that usually doesn't happen in baseball. And Meg, and this is one you sent out last week on Friday night, just a typical Friday night Haymarket Park with your old run-of-the-mill back-to-back home runs, and then some small ball, and then back-to-back hit batters, and the Huskers win 13-9. GBR. So, I don't know where to start, but maybe we'll start with that Friday night crazy game, and what's going on with the team right now? Good, bad, indifferent.
Yeah, that Friday night game was so fun. Like, it was the weirdest game I've been to in so long. What's going on with the team right now is like, what's frustrating isn't that they're losing, it's how they're losing. And it's that they're sort of beating themselves in all of these new and exciting ways, which is something that we've come to be really familiar with. But I mean, they're young. They've got some pieces that like will show sparks, and you'll be like, okay, maybe this is where, they kind of come together, they're figuring out a little bit, and then they take a couple steps back again. So
yeah, it just seems like they can't ever piece together 2 or 3 positive things in a row. Or I think it was the game on Sunday where all the hits we were getting they were 2-out hits. I mean, by the time that we finally got a guy on the base, there's just always so much stress on our team. We're never getting out ahead. And
right.
Even tonight against Creighton, I mean, we got a guy to second right away. Early in the game, they were giving us about every error that they could possibly give us.
Yeah, Creighton wanted us to win so bad.
we
didn't want to. We did want to. I shouldn't say that.
They did their darndest, right?
Mhm.
But we could never take advantage, or we just can't string enough positive things together. And so I even saw some stat at one point where we had a bunch of the one score losses too, which, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into that. That starts sounding too much like football. Boomer, what are your thoughts? Baseball season right now.
Yeah, I think Meg kind of had it right just as far as what's been ailing this team. Some of it is just they are a young team, and there's pieces they have to try to find and fit together. Trying to get that pitching rotation right is always tricky, and just the hits haven't been there, especially in the clutch situations. Like tonight, I think they went 2 of 15 or so with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's how you end up with all these close games. That's how you're always trying to play from behind and trying to play catch up. We'd commented on text threads about how, at least exciting the team is to watch. Yeah, and that's going to happen when you're always down or trying to chase a team with 1 or 2 runs left in a game. It's exciting to watch, but you run the risk if you get these streaks where you're just not pushing those runs in, you're going to lose a lot of these games. And the Michigan series was kind of disappointing with that great start. And we talked before that series happened how important that was just for the setting up the remainder of the season. The non-con schedule did not go well for us, so really not going to host a regional. So we really have to try to win the Big Ten, or at least finish as strong as possible to have serious postseason hopes. And losing to Michigan, that series doesn't help. So it just kind of starts off, just starts you in a hole and just puts a little more pressure on that. If that is a realistic goal this year, and I don't know if it is for this team right now. So now I think we just need to just try to string a couple of games together. And like you said, Honky, just get a few things going positive in a row for them would be nice. So is what they need to do.
Yeah, win a series. I mean, it's like they'll come out on Friday night, and even the last couple Friday night games, so the Corpus Christi series and then against Michigan, those were freaking fun games, but they had to come back and tie it up and have theatrics to win it. And then you kind of are like, okay, that was fun. Like, we got some energy for the weekend. This should be good. and then you're like, oh, it wasn't.
Yeah, the Cardiac Boys. I mean, it's definitely what they've been so far. Tonight's loss, although it's in state, and we hate losing to Creighton anytime we do, but it doesn't affect our conference record. And for the time being, at least, we got to get some wins in conference. The conference tournament doesn't take everyone, right?
Right.
So,
I don't know if it's top 8. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Boomer can.
Don't worry.
Boomer
someone
can
will
look
tell
that
me if
up
I am.
Yeah, or somebody following, if you know it, send that to us. But the point is, we want to. I think really, to me, a realistic goal right now is you got to get better, and you want to get into whatever that top is. That top 8. We want to be playing in Omaha at the very least for an opportunity at postseason. And then you hope you get a little bit of craziness if you're playing well by the end of the year. We're not playing well enough right now to really be talking postseason anyway. So get better and try to make one of those top spots.
Yes, it is top 8. So
top 8.
Yeah, and if you're not finishing the top 8 of the Big Ten in baseball, then that's not a good season. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Rob is officially winded out.
His mom had to use the phone again.
No.
Always hate it when that happens.
I know.
But I think this was good. We got to go through a whole lot of tweets here from the last week and everything. Anything on your mind right now? I mean, we can get to parting shots, but just anything on your mind in general, Meg?
I was thinking earlier today about that rich people probably don't appreciate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
That's probably fair.
Or do they have like cashew butter and some sort of fruit spread I don't even know about?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe that's the approach they take.
Which is probably great, but it's I had peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch today, and I was like, this shit is so good. And I just was thinking, there are people out there that just have no idea how good this is. That's all I was really thinking about.
I think with that's a perfect chance to get back into to get into our parting shots and close it out. And we've got a couple things coming up here. Favorite sandwich go. We've got a couple shows coming up, like we talked about earlier. Obviously, Rob hasn't had a chance to promote his thing, but again, on Thursday at 1:30, the Lunchcast, he's going to be talking with JoJo Doman. Really excited.
Hopefully he is. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
Unless his mom's using the phone.
That's
true. In which case, he's going to have to go to the library.
Mom, hang up the phone. Mom!
Where's my game pants? But then the Monday night show, and Meg, let's talk about that a little bit more here. We kind of promoted at the beginning, but the Husker Girls. And let me see if I can find that one to bring that up. So we have Meg and Kai and Amy and Abby and Sarah and Maddie. This is a really good group too that kind of covers a lot. Maddie lives out in Iowa City, and Amy is a college friend of mine from Montana, and you and Kai are running the Popping Kernels, and then you have Abby and Sarah doing the Husker Girls, and follow them at Husker Girls on Twitter. So really good group. I mean, what are you kind of hoping to get out of doing that discussion?
I'm just excited. I love any time I get to hang out with other female sports fans. It's really fun. And just any time, how do I want to say this? People get to relate to that. There are a ton of women out there who watch sports and who there's all of this content, right? And all of these things out there for us to subscribe to, listen to, watch. And so much of it, I'm like, this is not for me. So I'm just really excited.
Well, and to your point too, how many great Husker women we have out there as fans, and we see it all the time on social media. And that's what kind of got you and I talking about doing this too, is that sometimes they're underrepresented or sometimes they're misrepresented. And there's so many of them. I mean, this is the first show. I don't think this is a one and done. We've talked about, we could turn this into a series, and we could be inviting, many different people on over the course of time here. But this was just probably the hardest decision, was how did we pare it down? I'm really looking forward to it. And so that's going to be a Monday night show next week. And we'll be prepping spring game that week. I mean, it's spring game week. I mean, there's going to be
fun.
Hope Eternal, a lot of fun, in the air going on. Well, let's go to parting shots here. Boomer, what do you got?
Okay, well, first off, since we're closing the show once again, we don't get to grill our guest on their favorite Australian rules football team. But I'm excited to say St. Kilda managed a round 2 win, so they're 1-1 with Richmond this weekend. So
is that my team?
Yes. You like the Richmond Tigers. So, but it should be an interesting clash. I see you're following them closely, Honky.
Yes.
So that's good. And then we didn't touch on it this week, but there was an interesting article in The Athletic today about how the Power 5 money might shake out in the near future with just the sheer amount of money that looks like it might be flowing into the Big Ten and the SEC, especially, in the next round of, football rights and so forth.
Media rights stuff.
Yeah, media rights and everything. It's well worth reading, and it's very interesting to see and just kind of think about how that might shape the future of college sports and football especially. And if there's any one thing it does, it should finally put to bed anybody who thinks, hey, Nebraska should go back to the Big 12 because that's gone. I mean, if that's put to bed, it's on a huge pile of money in the Big 10. We're not going to give that up. And
Boomer,
there's no way we should. Yeah.
Didn't they call it the Power 2?
Yes, they put it as the Power 5 would become the Power 2. I think they estimated the SEC teams would be getting about 117 billion or so, or not billion, million a team. Big Ten, just a little over 100 million, and then the next closest is going to be Pac-12, which would be somewhere like 62 million a team. And the Big 12 is going to be last at about 57. So that's such a huge jump, and we're not giving that up, and nor should we. It'd be reckless to do so. So.
Well, and we talked about the NIL. Maybe that might be what helps pay for some of your future facility improvements is getting 100 million plus just from your, just from the conference.
Yeah, that or we could blow it all on hats or something fun like that, I think. Yeah.
Well, and Smack and Smooch can make those hats for you and print them off. Great company there.
See, it all ties together. It's all come full circle. I like this. Yeah.
Redcast Meg, and I like saying that. Redcast Meg.
I know,
what's your
fun.
shot?
I like it. So I wrote mine down right after the baseball game got over. This is all it says. Sports are dumb. I hate them.
That's kind of been our subtitle this entire 5 years of podcasting. So,
that's the title. That's the title of the show here. I'm going to write that down. What was it again? Sports are
dumb. I hate them.
I hate them. That will be the title of this episode when it comes out tomorrow on podcast. I love that. Well,
it's sad, but I mean, like I said, I'm an emotional sports fan. Did I tweet it? No, I just wrote it down.
No,
for later.
We didn't tweet. Oh shoot! I did something that nothing negative, but I tweeted at the Tyler Palmer, who's a baseball player for Nebraska.
Yeah.
He did get his first start today, and he's a Columbus Scotus kid. And
nice.
Boomer and I are Columbus Scotus guys, so we had to sit there and just give him a congrats and go Rocks. I think that's okay. That's you can do that, right?
I think anything positive is fine. I mean, really, like
it still feels creepy though too, because it's 18 and 19, 20-year-olds, and I'm more than twice that, and tweeting at them is. But anyways, keep it positive no matter what. And if you don't have something good to say, don't say it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is that's another PSA there from the Redcast and Redcasters. Thank you so much for everyone that was following along. For future shows too, if you want to be able to put in some comments or questions, we're finding that I guess you want to be on Facebook or YouTube to be doing it. Twitter doesn't play well with that, so I think Boomer, you kind of try to keep an eye on Twitter, but it's hard to do with this program that we have. So. One of the best things you can do is subscribe to YouTube. Subscribe to us, and you will be notified when we're going live. We are planning to go live, pretty much every week, 10 o'clock on Tuesday nights. That's our weekly goal, and then we will always have some of these offshoots like the Lunchcast or the Husker Girls on Monday at 8:30. So, a lot going on in the Redcast right now. Redcast Meg, thank you so much for joining us. You did a great job in Dave's place here, and until we talk to you next. That will be the Go Big Redcast.